Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Chris coming at you with another episode to the Beautiful Struggle podcast. And this is episode number 58. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, this is a personal development and a business podcast all in one. We release a new episode every single Monday of the week. Start your week off right with some inspiration, some knowledge, and some wisdom. So with that being said, we have another guest on. I'm super excited for this guest. Just a little bit about my guest before we dive into it. My guest today, he is an owner of a shoe company. He's a branding expert. He's an owner of his own growth academy. He's also the host of Outlet LA, a platform used for private upscale events. And really, he has an incredible story. I know a little bit about his story, and I want you guys to hear it. He has a very inspiring story. And just a beast when it comes to business and branding and entrepreneurship. Welcome, Eric Jones, a.k.a. the Dr. Dapper. How you doing, bro?
Hold on, intro. Come on, come through
Intro.
with the intro.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie.
Man.
A lot of podcasters out there, they don't do intros, man. They just like introduce yourself. Nah, we
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
do it
yeah.
for you, bro.
I like when I get a good intro because I mean it shows that people do their research or they know something or you're doing something that people kind of notice. So it means a lot when people can like give you an introduction because you feel like okay, bet they really want me. They research me and they really want me to be on the podcast. It's not just like, oh, well, I'm just gonna bring this person on because they like got this going on, and I just want to like get the credibility or just
Yeah, the
talk to
clout.
them, find a way to talk. Yeah. So it's good when people
Absolutely.
research and know about you.
Absolutely. So yeah, thank you for your time, man. So we can jump right into it, man. I know, like I said, you have an inspiring story. I know a little bit about you, but for the people that don't, go ahead and just break it down. You can start from where you grew up and the beginning and all
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, so I grew up in Helena, Arkansas. So it's Southeast Arkansas. It's like a poor, underrepresented area. My mom, my dad, they weren't together. But my mom met my stepdad after I got a little older. But growing up, it was kind of like rats and roaches. A lot of people don't really, don't experience that, or they look at me, they can't believe like, oh, you like rats, roaches, and like the holes in the walls, or like letting the oven down to get warm in like the wintertime and stuff like that. A lot of people can't relate to that, but that's where I kind of like that's my roots. That's where I came from. And my style, people always ask about my style. That came from church because my stepdad was a pastor. My mom, she was a first lady, and I played the drums in church. So the Doctor Dapper came from that. And I think a big part of my story, a lot of people kind of like can connect with, not relate to directly, but it touches them emotionally is the people I've lost on my journey, being my grandma in 2010, my dad in 2013, and my mom in 2016, right before I graduated college. So yeah, I've gone through a lot based on like just childhood, just environment, the way we grow up, the experiences we have, and the things we have to get through, and then also through like losses at a young age because I just turned 25. So I lost everybody before, and I was like right at 21. So that's something that inspires a lot of people because they can, people always share the glory, not the story. And I'm all about sharing a lot of the story and being transparent, even about business, like, make a lot of money, lose a lot of money. A lot of situations a lot of like decisions I made within business have led to me losing shitload of money. And, but I learned from that, so even if it's my first order shoes that I got, because I graduated college in December 2016 and went full time into the business, and with that was a struggle within itself, because at first I had my mom there, and then she was completely gone, and then I'm like, okay, bet I don't have any job offers, but my mom helped me build something, from credit cards and whatever she had that I could, actually build to be my own and pass it down and create generational wealth. So I really looked at that as like a blessing, and I jumped into it. And my first order of shoes came in 3 months late into 2017, and they were like defected and lower quality than what I wanted. So I ended up throwing away like 60 pair of shoes within that order out of 150. And, price, didn't know a lot about margins, didn't know about, pricing, never made any profit or money from that order of shoes. So I was like back to nothing, that like middle of 2017. And I know a lot of people we're not exposed to entrepreneurship. Were you exposed to entrepreneurship as a kid? No, I came about to me my junior year of college, or like a little bit before that. And in entrepreneurship it became a thing because I was like, yo, I see my mom struggling, barely making ends meet, working 2 or 3 jobs. There's more to life than just, that struggle or that hitting the clock and living paycheck to paycheck, and sometimes not even doing that. So entrepreneurship popped up, and I was like, yo, that sounds like a move. So let me tap
Yeah,
in.
absolutely. I know with me in entrepreneurship, I didn't know much about entrepreneurship until I was like in community college. You know, I
Hmm.
was living up in Sacramento, and we'll definitely we'll dive into this. But I was one of those kids that the only way I thought to get out was to play basketball, was sports. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
there is other way outs. You know, you can take the street way. You can just get a simple job and all that. But if you really wanted to make something out of yourself, we really believe that the only way out was to play sport. So once that kind of like went away, and I needed to figure out what was next, like I didn't even know what the word entrepreneurship meant, and I was like 19,
Yeah.
20 at this time. I was like, what is this? Started doing my research, and I'm like, man, this is it right here. You know?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we have to understand, that there's more to life than just basketball, rap,
Right.
football, and things like that in the streets. Because that's all. If that's all we're exposed to, and that's all we're like shown through the media
Exactly.
and through television, through movies, we're gonna automatically assume, okay, bet this is the only way I can get out. But if we start to push entrepreneurship, push like true Black excellence, and push ownership and community, then it becomes a thing of like, oh, we're choosing to make basketball and football the way out, so
Yeah.
we can shift that and choose to make entrepreneurship the way out. Because if we can become the greatest in basketball and entertainment or whatever the hell it might be, we can become the
Mhm.
best in business too. We just have to apply ourselves. But the only way you can apply yourself to something is if you have representation of like, okay, bet what steps do I need to take to actually apply myself. So that's why I push people all the time. We all have some piece of entrepreneurship inside of us,
Mhm.
even if it's like the smallest piece where it's not you trying to build an Amazon, you might be trying to build a local mom and pop shop,
Yeah.
anything, or it might be an ebook. Like I just dropped the ebook course, everybody can create some form of passive income or some form of investing in yourself outside of investing in somebody else's company, which the system is going to teach you how to do that before it teaches you how to do your own shit. That's
Right.
one
Right.
thing that's fucked up with it. People think the system is set in place to destroy just Black people. It's like, no, some, yeah, because of your race you might be ahead in some ways, but when it comes to white supremacy, that's when it becomes bloodline. So all
Mm.
of us are kind of like on the same playing field when it comes to like, just okay, as a human being born in America, you're going to go into this system that teaches you how to work for somebody. Because when you walk into a corporation, it's not just all Black people working for that corporation,
Mhm.
it's white people working for that corporation too. So we have to understand that they are taught as well, unless they're in a private school or homeschooled or being taught something different in their household, which is a whole different conversation. We're
Mhm.
all being put through the system of like, okay, bet you're gonna learn how to do this. I'm gonna tell you when to do this. I'm gonna tell you how to do it. And if you don't do it this way, you're gonna fail. So you have to go through. Everybody goes through that system, and everybody's brainwashed, and everybody's put into that cycle of going to college, getting a job, getting married, working until you 50, 60, retire, and then just like chill after that and collect a little check. Nobody's is pushed to own some shit. Very,
Mhm.
very few people are pushed into ownership. And I think that starts in the household, what you're teaching your kids and what you're exposing them to.
Yeah, and I also believe that, unfortunately in some households it's kind of looked down upon to be wealthy. They think, what I'm saying,
I
money
did
is
a
the root of
video on
all
that.
evil, So,
I
go
did
ahead,
a video on that. I
talk
did a
about it.
video on that because I was saying that you can't. People hate on a lot of people that have something that they don't have, even if they don't even want that shit. They just hate you because you got it. And then in order to attract something that is like a wealth or being able to afford Gucci or being able to afford a Ferrari, even if you don't want to at this moment, you might think you don't want it, but if you get the money or you attract the money and the funds and you surround yourself by people that already have that or are moving in that direction, of course you're gonna start to shift like, yo, it's possible I can actually own that Ferrari, and you start to
Hmm.
like other things outside of the things you think that you were like, because you've been put into a box. So if you can think outside of that box, then you're like, okay, I'm thinking bigger now. So why not, treat myself, even if you don't, if it might not be the
Right.
car, you might be interested in a house, but don't, what's the word that I use in the video? Just don't talk down on that and don't despise it or just like wish that like, yeah, this is terrible. We don't need this. Don't do that, because some of the things that aren't that expensive or that
Mhm.
luxury, you don't have to be that wealthy to get, you'll turn those away from your life too, and you'll just continue to have what you have currently. So I think it's a big thing to not talk down on people that have more than you. You applaud them, because you're going to attract what
Yeah.
you should have in your life. And then when it comes to like being wealthy and having money, understand that the money make the world go round.
Hmm.
And it's, I think it's not money that's evil. It's the if it's in the wrong hands, they can do the wrong thing. So
Yeah.
when people get a lot of money, they
The
become wealthy.
intentions.
You find out who they truly are,
Yeah. The
versus when
intentions
they didn't
behind
have the
it.
money. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to use it as a tool, like it is.
The tool. Absolutely. So, you get your first batch of shoes and it doesn't go as planned and as expected. By the way, you can let the people know what type of shoes they are because they're not just regular sneakers.
We don't
They're,
do regular shoes. LFLS shoes. Dr.
you
Dapper
know what I'm
got some
saying?
fly shit. They got the gold tips on the dress shoe, you know, and that's the thing why I teach personal
Gold
branding.
tip.
When I push that because
Yeah.
without personal branding, if somebody walks up to me, they should be able to know. Or they come to my page, they should be able to know. Okay, bet he's doing something within like the Dapper or industry, so like suited or
Yep.
the shoes, a suit, tie, accessories, whatever it might be. So you're a walking billboard, and I think all of our businesses are attached to something that we kind of care about or a piece of our lifestyle. So like I said, I grew up in church and I always wore suits, always wore, casual shoes or dress shoes. I never really wore sneakers a lot, didn't like Jordans. So I think it's something that's deeply ingrained in your lifestyle and the way you were raised and what you grew up around that allows you to build a successful business, and make your mark on an industry. So that's why I push personal branding, because you need to know yourself, know your style, know your lifestyle, know your area of expertise, and things of that nature in order to build like a successful business. So yeah, that the LFLS shoes, designer dress shoes, that's all we do. And it's like a thing of shifting the narrative as well. One shoe at a time, it starts to make people like, oh, dang, I'll switch up. I can change. I cannot wear the J's today because these shoes look cool.
Right.
I added that black like touch to it. We have a lot of culture and a lot of creativity within us. So I think within the dress shoe industry, it was all like just basic, conservative, just same shoes. And I added my own little touch to it. And I think that's something we can do in any industry as long as we just tap into it and really fully give ourselves to it. But yeah, that's what I did. And a lot of people were like, yo, I actually I can see myself wearing dress shoes now because of the way that I carry myself. I make it cool to be dapper. I make it cool to put on a suit and step outside and put on some dress shoes that you probably might not put on, a few years ago, until you saw Dr. Dapper rocking in a way, or you saw Dr. Dapper design a shoe that you like, yo, that's really, like, I would wear those instead of J's. So yeah, and understanding that you can be casual with the dress shoe. You can mix street and dapper together. It's cool because now we have athleisure where people are mixing athletics and then of course like casual clothes, and it's becoming a look. So I mean, it's endless possibilities of what you can do. You just have to create it and put it out there and market it in that way. And then people are like, oh, this is different. I kind of like that. You see it over and over and over again. Because at first it might be like, gold tips. Like, I don't know. But then you start to see certain people wear it. You start to see it worn in a certain way. You start to put yourself in those shoes and you're like, you know what? I'm going to try this look out. And you get it, and you rock it, and you get the compliments, and you feel good. You boost your confidence. You like, damn, I should have been doing this all along. But yeah, dress shoes.
Yeah.
Dress shoes is what it is.
So what was that switch for you to go into designing dress shoes? I mean, most people, the majority of people out there, they go into hats, shirts, you know what I'm saying? But you went straight into like
shoes,
luxury, you know what I'm saying?
Shoes is hard, man. And I mean, I was like,
sure.
I don't want to do something that's just like basic that everybody's doing. I'm always trying to be different and stand out. So I thought like black man with designing dress shoes. Like, no, how many dress shoe designers do I know? None. And so I was like, why not do that? Because I wore dress shoes. I used to draw shoes in middle school. And I really, what sparked it completely is like, I read an article about this girl that started a shoe company, and she didn't know anything about shoes. She just had money and connections. And I was like, I ain't got the money, but I got the connections, and I'm majoring in fashion, so let me try to make some shake. And it just all started from reading that article and with an idea, with a sketch, and then from there just calling, researching, Googling, emailing, going through just trial and error of trying to find an agent in a factory, and then everything kind of just fell into place. And then through that, I always try to remind people, even if something doesn't look like what you really want it to look like, oh, this isn't it. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. But it's been placed in your life, and it's something that's, a beautiful thing that you can build something great, and you can get more exposure. You can make some more connections. You can get some revenue rolling. Tap into that, because that can be the door that you open, and then your true passion and purpose is behind that, because it's just like a tree or like a plant. When you plant a seed, you water it. It doesn't just remain that one seed when it comes up. It branches off and sprouts out into different things. So you can't, expect to plant a seed of one thing. Well, you can expect to plant a seed of one thing, like the shoes. Like, okay, bet this is what's presented to me. I like doing it. I enjoy it. This is my lifestyle. Let me plant the seed. And as long as you water it, you nurture it, it's going to grow and it's going to produce other things, other opportunities, other connections, other streams of income. And that's what happened with the shoes. If I hadn't created the shoe company, I wouldn't be Dr. Dapper. I wouldn't have LFLS shoes. I wouldn't have moved to LA. I wouldn't be in the process of creating generational wealth. I wouldn't be coaching and teaching. But it all started because I saw entrepreneurship and I understood my lifestyle, what I cared about. And then I took steps forward. I made wrong steps. I made wrong decisions, but that's a learning process. And we all have to understand that nobody does everything right. You can't step into entrepreneurship and expect to never fuck up and have a golden road and have everything just go right your way. You got to be flexible on the shit that happens on the journey. You can be, my brother Levi says, you can be solid and stagnant on like that end goal, but with everything within that journey between start to finish, you have to be open to change, open to shit, move in a certain way that you didn't think would move. Because if you're too stickler on the process, you don't get to enjoy it. And then also you'll miss out on blessings that were supposed to come, from that process to lead you to your destination. Because just like when you type in a destination on the GPS, it shows you different routes. And then it also shows you different ways to get there, whether you're walking, you're taking a taxi, you're taking a train, or you're driving your damn self, or you're Ubering, whatever you might be. So we have to understand and have, grace for people that are, walking while we're driving, or might be flying while I'm driving, and then might take a different route or take a detour to make it to the same destination. Because we're not going to make it there the same time, the same way, that the other person made it, but we're going to make it there somehow. So you have to really just tap into your journey and enjoy that shit, no matter if you're walking or you're driving or you're flying. And no matter if you're on the fastest route or the longest route, it don't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely. So on this journey you're going through, you get the shoe company going, and you had some unfortunate losses in your life. You didn't let that be an excuse for yourself. You kept going strong, and you went into creating some other businesses and some other companies. I know you have the tea company, Outlet LA. You want to dive into those. We're definitely going to get into your academy as well, but talk about some of the other things that you started up in the journey as well.
Yeah, so I think everything that I've started now is LFLS, and then of course me understanding personal branding. So I branded myself along with branding my business. So if I hadn't done that, there would be no tea, there would be no Outlet LA, there would be no ebooks, there would be no coaching, there would be no Illuvione, there would be none of that, because it all branched off from Dr. Dapper. So the tea came about and the ebooks came about because of quarantine. The ebooks saved my life. So that's why I really, created my ebook course. So, I mean, it's like you create a problem, then you introduce a solution, or you see a problem and you introduce a solution. So I think, all the businesses that I've started outside of LFLS have really been, branched off from Dr. Dapper, whether it be the tea or the guides or me coaching and things like that. So you have a lot of different kind of entrepreneurs. You have somebody that might see a watermelon and just sell that watermelon. They might see somebody that has a watermelon that juices it and sells it in a bottle to where they can charge more for it. And then you might have somebody that has a watermelon. They might be juicing it and selling the bottle, and they might be teaching somebody how to sell that bottle of juice. So you have a lot of different kind of, areas you can hit. And I hit all those areas. I sell the tea, or I create the ebook. Then I teach you how to make the ebook. I coach people I push people, hey, branding, build your business. Then I offer a solution with the ebook. Then I offer a solution with how to create your own ebook, because I made money from that. So it's just a lot of different ways that I'm able to maneuver, pivot, and just think outside of the box, and create my own lanes of opportunity by creating one product and seeing and foreseeing, okay, bet I'm gonna create this product and it's gonna lead to me to create another product that I can monetize that is also gonna be passive. So everything that I do, everything I've done, is all branched off from the shoes. But yeah, Outlet LA is dope. Hosting events out in LA. I started that as soon as I moved out here. The tea started during quarantine because I was just creating a lot of businesses and brands. The ebooks came during quarantine. The coaching was already going before that. Speaking was already going before that. But now I do it on Zoom a lot. And yeah, Illuvione is just our networking organization that me and my homies started. So, it's just a lot of different shit going on, but it all coexists. It's all under the same roof, and it all kind of funnels to an end result,
Absolutely. So what would you recommend to some people out there if they say, yo, I want to start branding myself, personal branding and whatnot? Where do I start? What are some tips you can give to those people out there? Maybe they don't have a huge following. Would you advise for them to create a product first, or what would you suggest for them to go?
I would say get my personal brand development guide.
I
Go get tapped in with that.
I knew you was
But
gonna go. Yeah, yeah.
but outside of that, just some advice: if you don't have a following and you don't have a product, you have to look in the mirror and understand that you're a product. So you have to brand
Yeah.
yourself first, and don't think about a product. Don't think about selling anything. Think about selling yourself, because when you start to sell yourself, but in order to sell yourself, you have to understand yourself. So I always tell people that are my clients or people on social media, figure out yourself first. What do you love? What do you care about? What do you enjoy doing? What do your friends ask you for advice on? And really just focus on that shit. What are you doing in your 9 to 5 that they're paying you for, underpaying you for? Because you're never going to be paid what you worth working a 9 to 5. I don't give a damn if you're at the top or you're at the bottom. You're never going to get paid what you worth because they got to make profit. So what value am I bringing to the table? What value can I offer to the world? And once you understand that and the lifestyle you live and the way you're going to package, present, and promote that, then you move forward with creating your social media page. And in order to grow your social media page, you have to be transparent and be vulnerable, be yourself, and offer that value consistently. You have to cross-promote, collaborate, and give features. I won't go too deep into cross-promotion, collaboration, and features. You can book a one-on-one session, or you can read the ebook to get more into that cross-promotion, collaboration, and features, what I talk about all the time. And then after you start to develop your Instagram, you get consistent with your content. You're offering value. You're growing an audience. You're cross-promoting. You're collaborating. You're getting features. Then you step into my 3 Ps that I live by, because I live by 3 Fs and 3 Ps. So 3 Ps would be for business, passion, purpose, product. If you know your passion, that's good. If you know your purpose, that's good. You attach a product behind that. And if you look at every business, that's why they have mission statements and need promises and this and that. What the owner knew their passion. They put a purpose behind it, and then they created a product to go along with that. So, those 3 Ps will help people after they start to understand themselves, and then they start to, consistently offer themselves to the world and offer value, and then they're ready to move into creating the product. And then that's when you book a one-on-one coaching session.
Got you. Talk a little bit about the Dr. Dapper Academy. I see you doing some dope things with sponsoring young entrepreneurs out there, which I think is amazing.
You've been looking.
Man, come on now. It goes back to what we were talking about before, creating that exposure for people that look like us. If they see that someone looks like them is doing something they want to do, they're going to be more tapped in and be more willing to invest into what you got going on. And you're giving these ebooks away to young entrepreneurs, which I think is amazing. You want to go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah, so I talked about this in my ebook course too, the 6-figure ebook course that I got for pre-order. That the price is going up this weekend. So get tapped in.
Price is going up.
Price is going up this weekend on the ebook course. But within that, I talked about the different ways that you can utilize an ebook or a digital product and leverage it within sales, giveaways, collaborations, whatever it might be. You create that ebook one time, you never have to touch it again. You didn't invest any money in creating it. So it's up to you. You can utilize it. There's no overhead. With like a shoe, I can't give away a lot of shoes for free. But with the ebook, a digital product that I created that I can give out over and over and over again, and it doesn't cost me a thing to give it away, why not leverage that and create a program to where you can have somebody pay you to give that away, because they're paying for what it was worth, because you created that product, you put a price on it, you put it out there, and it's like, okay, it's worth this much, but I'm gonna give it away for free. But all you got to do is sponsor somebody for me to give it to them. It didn't cost me anything to give it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 entrepreneurs, but I brought in revenue because I gave it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entrepreneurs, and somebody sponsored that on those entrepreneurs.
Got you. And so I know you offer a bunch of different digital guides. The one you're speaking about, you teach people how to make an ebook and how to sell it, right?
Well, the ebook, the 6-figure ebook course isn't an ebook. It's a video course. So it has 2 chapters and 8 lessons in it. So basically it's at your own pace. You have access to it for 60 days. And you pay for it. And I teach you how I, develop my ebooks, how I made $1,500, in a day the other day, just from ebooks. So just being able to have that there, even if you don't make that amount of money every day, if you need some quick money, oh, bet I got my ebook. Let me push that shit real hard. You don't have to go create a product or create a brand again to do that. You just say, yo, ebook out. If you need to learn about this, learn about that. Tag some entrepreneurs, get some features here, go live here. You can push that. You have something you can push at any time, and it's always going to be there. And make sure when you're developing it, you're developing it in a way to where it's going to be relevant for a long time, not just for the current situation. Don't make a COVID, ebook. Make an ebook that's going to be like recession proof, So we're in COVID now. This is coming back again. or you can
Right.
lose your job at any time for any reason. Get this ebook. Don't just say, "Oh, COVID's going on right now. This is the ebook for COVID." Because when COVID's over, you shit. Now you got to create another ebook.
Right.
And if you don't want to create multiple ones, when you create that one, create it to where it's okay, bet this can last for some years. This can outlast. Just like any book, is you can relate it to any time. You can read it.
Absolutely. I've asked this question to a couple of different entrepreneurs. Do you believe everybody has the ability to become an entrepreneur? I know you kind of touched on
I
it
don't think
a little bit.
I think if it's impossible for everybody to be entrepreneurs because we need those people to work for those entrepreneurs, and we need those people to be at Walmart. I mean, at McDonald's flipping the burger and at Walmart bagging up stuff. Everybody has a place. It's just a puzzle piece. You got to figure out when you're born with a purpose, and your purpose might be taking care of old people at the house or at a whatever building. I forgot the name of the nursing home building. The nursing home. Yeah, that might be your purpose. You might love taking care of people and all that stuff. So I think entrepreneurship is something that a lot of people are born, I think, with that gift. Everybody has a purpose, and once you tap into your purpose might be something that has to do with entrepreneurship. But I do think everybody can have multiple streams of income, and that's just a small piece of entrepreneurship. I think, like I said, the ebooks. If you don't want to own a business like completely out, you might birth somebody that wants to own a business. And now that you had your ebooks and you created a brand around that, you generated some passive income that you're going to be able to pass down to your kids. Now you might give them a key that allows them to, be open to that and have that opportunity because they really want to be an entrepreneur. They're really, it's really in them to be an entrepreneur. They can go through that process. We got a lot of entrepreneurs out here that's trying to find a quick come up. And that's not what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship isn't like a quick come up. It's not a get rich quick scheme. So when you see all these get rich quick schemes and everybody that hops on that, they're not real entrepreneurs. They're just people out here just looking for a come up, looking for a dollar. When you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to solve a problem. You're trying to create generational wealth. You're trying to build something that can, better people. It's bigger than you. It's more. And when something becomes bigger than you, that's when, it's real. If you look around at any successful, like extremely successful business, they're like solving a problem for not just themselves and their family, but millions of people. So, that's why I have my ebooks, my courses, my coaching, my speaking, because then you solve a problem for other people. You reach other people. It's not selfish, it's selfless. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think everybody can be entrepreneurs. I don't think the world is created for everybody to be entrepreneurs. But I think the world is created for everybody to live the best life that they want to live, whether that be a 9-to-5, whether that be selling another product for another business, whether that be you owning your own business or whether that be you owning a mom and pop shop. It's possible to make the perfect amount of money that's perfect for you, that's perfect for your perfect life. And we have to stop letting social media determine what our perfect life is or what, we aspire to do. Because what you're looking at on social media is a highlight reel. And a lot of the times, like I said earlier, it's not even what you desire to have. It's just what you just see somebody else has it and they're enjoying it. And you haven't found your enjoyment in life.
Yeah. So
I think you have to tap in with self, and just because self is source. You have to figure out what you need for your life, and what you need for your life might just require a salary of a McDonald's chef. It might not require the salary of a CEO.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very important that you identify what it is success looks like for you. I had this conversation with somebody else because, like I was telling somebody else, success for you could be picking up your kids whenever the heck you want, It doesn't mean that you got to have, a Rolls Royce or something like that. Success for you could be, working a 9-to-5, selling a product on the back end, having some extra income, like you said, so you can pass that money down to your kids or something like that. That could be success for you. And I think it's really important that we all look inside and identify what that is for us. And you made a good point not to turn towards social media and what these quote unquote gurus are saying what success is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like success for everybody, man, is just freedom and happiness. Like that's success is just happiness, man. Like you can be successful. And successful is different for everybody. People might look at my social media and say, "Oh, you're successful," and I might look at it and be like, because I'm in it, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not where I want to be yet." So I mean, I'm not like I don't consider myself super successful, but everybody's lens is different when they're looking and viewing, even if you're transparent. But at the end of the day, if you're happy with where you are, you're successful. If you're free where you are, you're successful. And I think the only way to truly be free is to be financially free. You know, if you lose your job tomorrow, you ain't gotta stress about trying to go scramble and find another one. You know, because when you die, your job is getting posted on LinkedIn or somewhere the day after
The
that,
day
if not
after.
that
The
night, as
day
soon as they
after.
find
Yeah.
out you did. So you know, just whatever freedom and happiness is for you. You know, that might be just going to the park every day. You feel free and happy. You know, that might be traveling for you. Feel free and happy. So you use your time off, or holiday, or whatever it might be, to just travel. So it's different, but self is source. So understand what self needs, and I feel like everybody will live a more abundant and just free life once they understand what they need and what they desire in life, and not what somebody else desire. Because a lot of stuff we do and we buy, and a lot of places we go, and the pictures we take and the things we show is to impress somebody we really don't give a fuck about,
That's a
and
fact.
it doesn't give a fuck about us.
That's a
So.
fact. That's a big fact. Um, Man, talk about the importance of investing in yourself, and what are some of the ways that you invest in yourself. We all know, well, a lot of people know that the biggest asset that we have is ourself. And yeah, talk about some of the ways that you invest in yourself.
Yeah, you're your biggest asset. And we push investing in yourself not only just to tell people to have people buy our products and shit, but to also like just tell them like, yo, investing in yourself is the biggest investment you're gonna make in your life, because you can look at a car as an investment, but that car can be total, But if you
Mm-hmm.
invest in an ebook or a course or a consultation or just going to a conference, nobody can take that away from you. Like even
Mm-hmm.
when you die, you can like pass it on to somebody else, like because that's
Mm-hmm.
knowledge. Whatever's in your head, it can never be taken away. But if you buy it and you wearing it or you driving it, that can be taken away. So I think looking at it from the perspective of if how much do you value yourself? Do you value that car more than you value your own damn self? Are you taking your car to get it washed more than you taking yourself to get a massage and a pedicure or a facial? Self-care is very important. That's a way to invest in yourself. Knowledge, self-care, experiences, exposure to certain environments. If you want to grow, you got to get uncomfortable. So I think investing in yourself is also being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And looking at a $500 consultation not as you're gambling or you're throwing money away, but it's like, okay, I'm investing in myself. There's a guarantee that I'm going to gain something that I didn't have before I went into this. So I think that's very important to understand. And it can go down to the food you eat, the things you consume, whether from a visual standpoint, from like an eating standpoint, and from like just listening. Whatever you're consuming, that's a way of investing in yourself. If you're consuming negativity, like currently right now, social media is a whole lot of negative bullshit. So you're consuming that. So that's investing in yourself in a negative way. You're gonna like just fuck your mental up. You're gonna get your shit off. You're off. You're not on track. You're not focused on the right thing. So investing in yourself can look a lot of different ways, but I think a lot of people just say it and they don't show it and give action steps on how they can, invest in themselves. But I think that's what I said is like a good starting point for somebody to figure out, okay, that stood out to me. Let me try to do that, since that's considered investing in myself.
Absolutely, that's really good. Talk about some things briefly that you've learned during this quarantine. You know what I'm saying? During this lockdown, where you probably had to pivot a couple times. What are some of the things that you maybe learned about yourself or learned about business? Yeah.
I learned that about myself that I learned a lot about myself based on personal life, with the way that I would approach relationships and friendships, based on cycles that we're in that we think is good, but it's really like too much anything isn't good. So changing up that cycle. I learned that I neglected my personal brand a lot because I had a lot of I made six figures within LFLS shoes, like period. Like so I made that. I made that last year in revenue. So when I pivoted, when that was nothing because nobody was buying shoes, I'm like, damn, what am I gonna do? So then I realized, damn, Dr. Dapper is really valuable because I made damn near the same amount within the same allotted time that COVID was going on that I would have made with shoes. So I saw that I could have made a shitload more if I hadn't have just only been shoes, but if I had to focus on self a little bit more. I also realized that I'm super extroverted, and I can become. I'm realizing I can have cycles of depression.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be triggered by certain things, and it can cut certain things off. I'm just realizing a whole lot, man, and it's a beautiful thing to have to just sit with yourself and unpack things that you swept under the rug, because it's like, yo, you ain't got nothing to do, nowhere to go, no people around, you by yourself, and you just in your thoughts. And then you start to think about all the things you went through, all the things, all the baggage you're carrying, all the things you sweep under the rug that you wanted to just be like done with and not talk about, or not look at, or not handle. And I've had to do that the whole quarantine. I've been pushed to let walls down, to let love in. You know, everybody got a quarantine bay and shit. I got like a quarantine. This is my lady over here, Divinity. Look at her. You want to speak?
Hey,
Speak.
how
You
you
look
doing?
like, what's wrong with you? But yeah, just love and just being open to that. So personal life and business, I've learned a lot, and I've grown a lot, and I've been grateful for it. You know, there's a blessing in every situation. You know, it could be, it's just perspective on it. You know, so I think COVID has been a blessing to a lot of people in a lot of different ways, because when we go back to the new normal, the things that we used to do to monetize or to just enjoy and have fun, we'll have these new things that we've had to pivot to do and enjoy, to add on to that. So it becomes like a more larger collective of things that you just love doing and you care about, and things you created during a period where you couldn't do what you would typically be doing in a regular year. So yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of dope stuff happening.
No, that's really dope. That's really dope. Yeah, we can just start wrapping this thing up, man. I really appreciate your time. I didn't want to take up too much of it. I think
Yeah.
you got a great, amazing story, man. You got true resiliency, and I really believe that you don't have an excuse for anything, man. You just make it happen. So
Yeah, that's
it's dope.
you gotta make shit happen, man. It's just taking action, you know, and then the
Hmm.
universe aligns stuff how it should based on you moving on. Because you can say certain things, but action speaks louder than words. And
Absolutely.
one in every 60 people that say they're gonna start a business actually starts that business. So you know, it's about that action. And you know, excuses are just whatever. You know, I think we all in certain situations we create excuses, but you know, specifically for me in business and growth, personal growth, and things like that, I don't really create a lot of excuses for that. I can create excuses for something else, but you know, I'm just so deep into business, and I don't. My mind has been has been just changed and rewired to where it's like, you know, failure is something that's inevitable. You can't avoid failure. So
Hmm.
you know, a loss is really a lesson, and it's, everything is perspective and placing a purpose on everything that happens in life. So yeah, no excuses. We go get shit done, regardless of the situation.
Absolutely. So usually, what I have my host do for the episode is I always have them leave one last piece of advice for the
Mhm.
audience. So if you can give one last piece of advice to people out there, it can be anything business related, personal development, whatever you feel like, and we'll end it on that.
If I hadn't talked about this during an interview or a panel, I always say "fail like a baby." Have you heard that one?
What is it?
Fail like a baby.
Okay, no.
You ever heard that? Okay, so failing like a baby within business life and relationships, whatever it might be. When you think back to when you were a kid, or when you look around and you see babies and
Mm,
kids, you know, we come out crawling, and we're like,
yep.
okay, bet I'm just crawling, and the baby looks around like, oh shit, y'all walking. Like I really I wanna walk. Y'all talking and everything. So that baby starts to and they start to stand up and start to hold on to stuff to try to start walking. But for the first however many months, however whatever, what do? They fall down. So they fail
Mm,
over and over and over again. But that baby doesn't give up, you know.
don't
So
give up.
when we were kids, we didn't know what failure was. We didn't know what, you know, we didn't know what being afraid of shit was when it came to us really wanting to do something. So I think we have to tap back into that childlike mentality and start to feel like a baby within real life. Because no matter how many times you fall down, you have to get back up. Because if that baby
Mm,
hadn't got back up again, none of us would be walking today. None of us would be walking. We would all still be crawling. So I think when you have that mindset, when you're in business or just in life, or feeling like a baby, you have to have that perspective on it. And then also when you look at the things that the baby grabs when it gets up, you know, as adults, that's our circle. You know, can I grab onto you and hold on to you to hold me up so I can get my balance back, or so I can get back on my feet? If you can't look at your circle and find and see a couch or a table or a bar or some shit to hold on to, you're in the wrong circle. You know,
mm.
so just having that perspective and analogies to compare to certain situations in life is really good. So fail like a baby. That's what I always say.
Man, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Man, where can people find you at? And wherever you want to direct people, I'll leave them in the description of this podcast. But let the people know where they can find you.
Dope. Everything can be found on Instagram. Link in my bio. I got a couple different buttons up there for the ebook course, for my ebooks, booking me for coaching and anything like that. And my other business pages in my bio. So that's the Doctor Dapper, like you said at the beginning. TheDoctorDapper. And that's where they can find me. Put the Instagram link.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, with that being said, it's your boy Chris, and I'll catch you guys next week. Boom.